The gaming industry is incredibly lucrative, and it's become the largest entertainment industry in the world. Enter the country of Saudi Arabia and its crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman, who have been trying to make major moves in the entertainment industry with their Vision 2030 plan. And those moves are what I'm going to be talking about today, with a specific focus on video games. So they're making major investments in economic moves. They hold a Riyadh season mega festival that includes sports events like soccer, horse racing, and boxing, as well as a film festival and concerts. It's also the home of one Mr. Beast Land, which is a temporary theme park that's part of the festival. They're also opening a Six Flags in Qiddiya, and they'll be hosting the first
non-North American
WrestleMania event as part of a partnership with WWE. But one of the biggest investments they've made so far is into the video games industry. They own Scopely, which is a mobile game studio that purchased the gaming division of Niantic, and Niantic is the company behind
Pokemon Go
and other AR-based walking games. Then there are some minor investments in some of the largest video game publishers in the world. And they're also investing in esports, holding an esports World Cup in Riyadh. The largest single investment so far has come in the form of the second biggest acquisition in all of the gaming ever, right behind Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard King. On September 29th of 2025, EA agreed to be acquired by Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, or the PIF. EA, or Electronic Arts, is a sizable American game publisher. Some of its most popular and iconic franchises include Madden, Battlefield, and The Sims, just to name a few. The PIF is a government-controlled fund that owns and invests in dozens of companies. If approved, the acquisition would set the PIF back $55 billion USD, and EA would be controlled by a consortium, which is basically an association of businesses. Before we talk about why this matters and why it's happening, will this even go through? The PIF has made a hefty $2 billion investment into a private equity firm called Affinity Partners. Affinity Partners is slated to be part of the consortium that controls EA alongside the PIF and a company called Silver Lake. Why does that matter? Affinity Partners is owned by one Jared Kushner, aka the president's son-in-law. So while this is just speculation, it would not surprise me if this acquisition has less trouble with regulators than Activision did. Here's why people are concerned and the potential consequences of this going through. Saudi Arabia has been accused of human rights violations and historically has treated women in the LGBTQ+ community poorly, to say the least. Big understatement. Being gay is illegal in Saudi Arabia, with the max penalty being death. So I'm just going to touch on some major violations. One example is the case of Raif Badawi, I'm sorry if I butchered that, who was on trial in 2012 and sentenced in 2015 for insulting Islam. Originally, they seek to charge him with apostasy, or the renouncement of a religious belief, which is punishable by death in Saudi Arabia. Apparently, this was because of his liking a Saudi Christian Facebook page and saying that, quote, Muslims, Jews, Christians, and atheists are all equal. His original sentence was 600 lashes and 7 years in prison, but an appeals court upped it to 1,000 lashes and 10 years in prison, a sentence he finished in 2022. The country is also the second highest user of the death penalty in the world. They execute hundreds of people every year. In the last example for this video, there's way more. In 2022, a law was enshrined that asserted male guardianship over women, and I'm just going to read verbatim what this says.
Married women are required to obey their husbands in a, quote, reasonable manner, unquote. A husband's financial support is specifically contingent on a wife's, quote, unquote, obedience, and she can lose her right to such support if she refuses without a, quote, unquote, legitimate excuse to have sex with him, move to or live in the marital home, or travel with him. The law further states that neither spouse may abstain from sexual relations or cohabitation without the other spouse's consent, implying a marital right to intercourse.
And that's really weird. And that's just the tip of the iceberg with that law. There's more to it. A lot of people take issues with organizations, businesses, governments, and individuals for entering partnerships with them, and this can be pretty clearly seen with the Riyadh Comedy Festival backlash. Despite this, though, the partnerships continue to arise, like the WWE partnership, their hosting of the FIFA World Cup in 2034, or the acquisition of EA. Besides the social backlash, this merger will have drastic consequences for EA. It would take the company private and put them $20 billion in debt. According to CEO Andrew Wilson, quote,
our values and our commitment to players and fans around the world remain unchanged.
The statement was intended to quell fears regarding changes in games as a result of the merger and affirm that they will maintain creative control. However, considering that it's illegal to be LGBTQ+ in Saudi Arabia, there are concerns that the content of games like The Sims, which allows same-sex relationships, will be changed. Of course, this statement is also pretty hollow coming from Wilson, who has every reason to get this deal to go through. Censorship isn't the only concern staff have, there's also job security. EA has said, quote,
uncertainty about the effect of the merger may impair our ability to attract, retain, and motivate key personnel, and could cause customers, suppliers, financial counterparties, and others to seek to change existing business relationships with us.
Now, why are they going to be in so much debt? Well, this is actually a leveraged buyout, meaning the Saudi consortium contributed $36 billion and essentially borrowed $20 billion from JP Morgan. Instead of the PIF being saddled with that debt, the burden is actually laid onto EA. EA has made about $7.5 billion in revenue each year since 2023. And keep in mind, that is revenue, not profit. So this implies a long road ahead for paying off that debt. And this will almost certainly lead to cost-cutting measures from the company. I think the default cost-cutting measure for most of these companies and the gaming industry in general right now is to lay off and shut down studios. There's also a good chance their games will be monetized even heavier. And Andrew Wilson has also talked about EA embracing generative AI. It's almost definite that EA will lean even heavier into AI as a cost-cutting measure. Finally, why is Saudi Arabia doing this? They seem to be focused on becoming a hub for entertainment. The Crown Prince also calls himself a gamer.
What do you have fun doing?
Video games.
And he has so much money he can just throw at entertainment industries, so there is probably some personal interest from him in this. But what I feel is the largest motivator for this development is the concept of sports washing. Sports washing is a term that describes a company or country using sports or entertainment in general as a way to distract, hide, or repair their poor reputation. It's essentially like,
Hey guys, come play esports over here. Come stay at our gaming city. Aren't we so cool and fun? Don't look up Saudi Arabia human rights, guys.
they want people to come look at the bright lights and colors, and they don't want them to look any deeper.
Guys, look, Mr. Beast. Guys, it's Mr. Beast land. Wow, Mr. Beast is so cool. Saudi Arabia's so cool.
So Saudi Arabia's deepening investment into gaming and entertainment as a whole is something to keep an eye on. Their purchase of EA is likely to have a large negative impact on the company itself, and I would imagine if it's successful, they would continue to make investments or more acquisitions across the space.
In terms of reflection, I am pretty shocked at the extent of Saudi Arabia's human rights violations. I was also pretty surprised but also unsurprised about Jared Kushner's involvement in this. It's just weird. I also learned what a leveraged buyout is, and I'm no longer confused about how EA is $20 billion in debt from this, but I'm also surprised that they agreed to do that. It seems like the deal will only hurt EA and help Saudi Arabia and Jared Kushner. It's just it's a big mess. The gaming industry is just a big mess right now.
As for a reflection question, does Saudi Arabia's investment in video games raise any red flags for you? And are you at all concerned about it? Or do you think it could be a good thing, or maybe it's not that big of a deal? And here are my works cited.